Welcome to USL Live to the Season 24 Playoff Preview Show. I'm your host, Romulocks, and this is a weekly podcast for Free Infantry's Unified Skirmish League, where we look back at the results from the previous week, discuss the upcoming matches, and try and predict the winners and how that will impact the rest of the season. Join me to discuss all that and more. I am honored to welcome into the broadcast booth my co-host for this evening. First up, we have Mecca.
Howdy.
We have The Gift.
Hello.
We have, maybe joining us later, Splittah. We have Bowen.
What up?
And we have Eric.
Ni hao.
For more information on the Unified Skirmish League, including schedules, rosters, or how you can be a part of this league, please visit uslzone.com. Guys, we had some pretty exciting Week 6 games to finish out our season. I want to first of all just go over those results, and then we'll talk about some stuff after that in terms of the teams that will be leaving us now for the season and then moving into postseason and what that's going to look like. So first up, we had Suicide Squad defeated Nexus 83-29. Your MVP in that game was DMX, a.k.a. Shasta. Degeneration X defeated New World Order 57-40. Your MVP in that game was Envy. New World Order defeated Suicide Squad 80-38. Your MVP was Dead, also known as Abath. Degeneration X then defeated Cats 49-40. Your MVP was Saab in that game. Eric got robbed. And then Cats defeated Crusaders 99-46. Your MVP in that game was Pandy. So as I said, we're going to be talking a lot in this podcast about the upcoming playoff matches and the squads competing in postseason play. But first, I want to discuss with the panel the two squads who ended their season last night in Week 6 of regular season play. And I want to go around the table and ask each of you to comment on your perception of the squad overall, including words of encouragement if you have them for both the team and individual players on the squads, and if you have any silver linings or specific players you think are deserving of a call out here as their season comes to a close. So first up, let's talk about Crusaders, who finished 2-8 on the season, with both victories coming against Nexus. They ended their season with 385 kills and 704 deaths. Mecca, get us started here.
Yeah, first I want to shout out Crusaders just for the people who did stick around. You know, the mid-season it was looking kind of close to them fading and getting replaced as CTF squad. So I'm glad they were able to stick it out. A couple shout outs. I don't know what the squads will look like next season. Hopefully there's a place for a lot of these people to go if allegedly Bax is quitting, which you'll see about that. But because I think people like Uni and even Negi deserve to be on squads that probably a little bit better than Crusaders. Because I think Negi or Uni could probably be your sixth starter on maybe like the fourth or fifth team. I don't know if he can do much more of that on like a super stack team. But I think he deserves definitely to be in the playoffs. And then same with Negi. I think Negi is a better med than people give him credit for just because he's drunk and, you know, among other things sometimes. But his actual play when he's on and sober, he's actually a pretty decent med. And then, you know, obviously Manu should probably be on a better squad too. So he could do his Manu type leading a little bit better and maybe cause some upsets with a little bit better player base. And then also shout out to Smackrock for keeping that squad together when Bax was going insane.
All right, let's go to Gift next.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was a Smack Rock for sure. They had 4 people show up to all 10 matches, and when you're getting your head beat in every match, it's very hard to keep showing. So definitely shout out to Smack Rock. I think he was Big Lou. Uni had a very good season actually for being on that type of squad too. And say what you will about Bax, but he had a great season playing sniper every match. So hopefully these guys continue to play. Well, we'll see what happens next season.
All right, let's go to Bowen.
Yeah, I mean, so Smackrock, I can't say enough how instrumental he was to this squad, keeping it alive whenever it was really down. I would award him every award I could think of if I could. But, you know, shout out to him. And, you know, Ox actually had a good season as well for the 7 games he played. You mentioned Bax and Uni. It's just some good shining stars in this thing. And I'm hoping to see a lot of these guys appear on other squads next season.
All right, Eric.
I mean, it's kind of been uttered by everybody else. Smackrock was, in fact, the glue to this squad. He kept everything everybody's heads afloat while, as Mecca said, Bax was losing his mind. Bax did have a great season, as Gift pointed out, going 88 and 68 as a sniper predominantly. And then the unsung hero, which we've all kind of called out, was Uni. I think he got like a new computer or whatever, and he actually started playing pretty well considering, how bad some of their matches were. So shout out to these guys, and maybe I'll pick some of them up next season.
I absolutely concur with everybody here that Universal Soldier 2K, I've said it, I think 3 weeks in a row now, that has had the best season I've ever seen him play. I mean, the thing about Uni has not been that he's not capable of doing well. It's the consistency angle. He's always been very inconsistent. And this season he has really, really fixed that problem. He's shown up basically every week for them, even when the rest of the guys were not ready to play, he was. So I definitely want to call him out for that. That was a fantastic job on his part. Smackrock, as you said, is the glue. So much the wheels were ready to come off this bus, and Smack steered it back on. And I not enough compliments for Smack and the job he did. I think the squad was much better when Manu was present. And we saw that in week 3 when we didn't know if they were going to fold or not. Manu shows up to save the day. Played an excellent game that week. I think led that game. Just nothing but compliments for Manu as well. The Ocbacks, the Bactavian, however you want to call it, I think that was a very interesting season opener. I really wish we had seen more of that in week 2 and in 3. I wish the focus had been on the gameplay rather than on other things. But I think Oct and Bax both still did have good seasons. Bax in particular had an amazing season. And I would have liked to have seen more from them. I really like the way the season started for them. 2 other people I wanted to call out. Metal, it was there for 4 games only, but 24 and 25, a pretty solid showing from him when he was there as LMG. And another person I want to compliment is Doghouse. 3K Werewolf showed up in the middle of this season when they weren't going to be able to show 8. He joined the squad. He came out there. He's played everything from medic to marine. There were some times where we didn't know exactly what he was doing. But you know what? He showed up for this team in a moment where they absolutely needed him. And so I just wanted to compliment 3K Werewolf. Thanks for coming out and joining them. And they definitely appreciated it, even if they haven't said it to you. So let's move on from that to the second team that we are bidding adieu to as well. Is a team that I know very well, Bowen and I. That is Nexus, who finished 1-9 on the season with their only victory coming against Suicide Squad in week 3. They ended the season with 301 kills and 747 deaths. Let's go, Mecca.
Yeah, first off, shout out that one upset against Suicide Squad. I wish you guys played like that all year and could have picked up another upset or at least beat Crusaders once. I don't know how you beat Suicide Squad but lose to Crusaders both times. But anyways, yeah, shout out to Boston, combining the two there. Bowen and Fausto for leading and keeping the team together. Shout out to Med, Ramen, Center for medding almost every game. I think Center probably could have moved up to a different squad and probably started for maybe even a playoff squad if he joined in time. Hopefully he does something next season. I know he's a negative Nancy and said he's going to quit, but we'll see what he actually does. And then also, obviously, Chompy having, probably running away with the Cave Beast Award. So I think you'll see Chompy and Center on better squads next season. Who knows what happens with, Bowen, Fossil, Rom. Maybe they make another one. Maybe Fossil takes over. I don't know. But also Draco. I think Draco is really underrated. His stats weren't the best, but I think when Draco was in game, Nexus looked like a completely different squad. He just gives that veteran experience. He can solo, which Nexus didn't really have a good solo, so he takes care of that as well. So I'd like to see Draco bump up to a playoff squad next season too, because I think he could be your 5th or 6th starter pretty easily as Marine.
Let's go, Gift.
Nexus kind of perplexes me for the past 2 seasons. Like, when you look at the roster and the lineup compared to Crusaders, I would choose the Nexus players, but for some reason they can't just get it going. Chompy came out of nowhere and had a great season. Stoic is over aggressive for the leadership style that's going on, so he has a shit ton of deaths. But that seems to be the MO of Nexus. A few people want to be aggressive. A few people want to be smart, regroup, and take it slow and see how it goes, right? I feel like they were better when Foster led, not crapping on Bowen, but it's a lot to lead and captain every single week schedule. And then on top of that, admin duties, it's too much to do, right?
Agree.
Right. I feel Draco got it going a little bit as the season went on too. I think he still needs to unrust a little bit more, but yeah, same thing as your Crusaders players. Tough season. You show up every week and you got it out. So good on them.
Let's go to Bowen.
Yeah, I was captain of this squad. I got a lot of good things to say about these guys. Fosso stepping it up and leading, just never tilting. Like, dude, it's crazy. I've been on squads with Fosso in the past. I've never heard the dude really tilt, and he's such a good leader. He knows where they are at all times. He always had us in the right positions, and it was just up to us to execute. We just never did. But it's is what it is. I will say, as far as squads go, this is probably one of the best squads I think I've ever been on, as far as how much I enjoyed playing with them. No toxicity, just very chill every week to week. Do we win a lot? No, but it was chill. And I agree, we got a lot of veteran players and some guys who came up out of nowhere, like the Chompies. Emperor really showed out some good games this season. He had some struggles towards a couple other ones, but he showed up. Enemy when it wasn't going AFK and dropship was solid. So Center is one of the best medics I've seen come back to the game in a while. I think if he gets his confidence up and plays with a better squad, I think he can go far. And I still want to see Chompy get 50 kills in a game next season. So Draco and those guys, a lot of these guys were instrumental in our Suicide Squad upset week. He was solo, he was vision, he did everything that gave us the edge in that game. And Foster put him in all the perfect positions. So just shout out to my entire squad, all great group of guys, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Eric?
Yeah, I think going back to what Gift was saying, you had some people that want to be aggressive and some people that want to kind of play safe, get vision, and go from there. I think, and I've been kind of calling it since the beginning of the season, that when you have one leader throughout the week, aka Bowen, and then you change up your leading style for Sundays only, aka Fausto, it kind of confuses some of these newer players or even returning people, because all of a sudden we're going from, yeah, let's push, to, all right, let's play it a little bit slower, a little bit smarter, maybe set up some ambushes. Looking at all the deaths, Chompy and Stoink both at 106, you guys listened to what we were saying and put those two together with Rom, which is why they both evened out with how many deaths. They both pushed together. They started to play off each other very well towards, especially in that Suicide Squad upset. They played very well together. I look at these guys as, being good building blocks for a squad next season, as long as people can rein in that over aggressiveness or that tunnel vision or that main character syndrome of Stoink. Draco, as Gift pointed out, returning vet. We've both, Gift and I, have played with him many seasons on Warhawks back in SOE. We both know he's very, very capable Marine. It definitely could be that 6th Marine spot for another squad if he unrusts. And yeah, Fausto showing up for Sundays only, really, and still trying to put up decent showings. I have nothing but good thing to say about these guys, and some of them will be on my squad next season.
Yeah, I think we were a victim of ourselves. Gift started this out by saying we perplexed him, and I agree. We just did not practice, and this is a pretty significant problem. I had to, thanks to all the squads in this league who let me and Chompy NT for basically every single one of you at a certain point. That's the only way I got practice in the week, was to have to NT for another team. And that's just not a real way to run a team. It's unfortunate. I think Bowen was a victim of, when you're admin at a certain point, you're just done and you just got to hang it up and you don't want to log on to practice. And I get that totally. We also had some significant inactivity. Some of the guys just work-life balance just didn't make it work. But they were able to be there on Sunday. I wish we'd had a few more guys during the week, but you get what you get. And I will concur with Bowen. This is one of the most fun squads. I know Mecca and Bowen can both attest. I was pulling out my fucking hair last season, man. I was so I lost it one night. Absolutely lost it on a bunch of guys that just were disjointed, not playing together, did not seem to care at all. And I'm just like, we're just wasting our time. This season, I never felt like that. I felt while we definitely had our struggles, no question. I could tell there was effort on every part, and everyone was trying to listen. Did we get it right every time? No, we didn't. But it's more about how you run the race. I said that yesterday, and I believe it for this team for sure. And I really have enjoyed this group of guys in a lot of ways. Some significant shout outs. We've already talked about Bowen, Fausto. The leadership of this squad really stepped up the entire time. No one was wondering what we were going to do. It was just a matter of if we could do it. I like to play with Enemy and Imp, both for the first time this season. Really enjoyed those guys. Didn't get a lot of time with either one of them because they joined kind of late, but really enjoyed that. DP showed up all season. He was active. He didn't have the best season on the field, but you know what? He was there every night, and I super appreciate that. Kind of a similar story for MTR3. Draco and ATR are longtime teammates of mine. I've been playing with those guys, both of them since the early 2000s, and it was just really cool to reunite with some old friends this way. Stoink and Chompy, my first time with those guys, but my flank crew, I loved playing when everybody in the community kind of called it out that the three of us should be together. It really did just fit very well. I would say I kind of hold myself responsible for not trying to hold Stoink back more and just being more vocal. But I think that would have come with practice, and we just didn't get it. So it is what it is. And Center, my medding partner, it has been a joy to med with him for 2 seasons in a row. I get along with every single one of these guys. I look forward to seeing what Chompy becomes. All of them are very fun, and Nexus, the second season of Nexus, will remain, as Bowen said, one of my favorite seasons. Even with the results being what they are, these guys were a blast to play with. So I'll just leave it at that. Let's move on to what everybody's kind of here for. We are entering the playoffs of season 24. What I want to do right now is set up the seedings, talk about how playoffs will be played and the schedule, and then we'll talk about the predictions for the matches. So let me start with the number 1 seed for the playoffs in season 24 is D-Generation X, who went 10-0 on the season with 692 kills and 332 deaths. Just an outstanding, dominating performance by the Sav's team / Mecca's team. Number 2 would be Cats, going 7-3 on the season with 542 kills and 393 deaths. The 3rd seed will be New World Order, 6-4 on the season with 632 kills and 350 deaths. Then number 4 seed, Suicide Squad, going 4-6 on the season with 442 kills and 457 deaths. So playoffs are going to be played this way. The map selection for semifinals has been chosen as Else Dragon Compound, aka EC, aka I think the longest running USL map, maybe besides KR. I don't know. You guys definitely know better than me. To me, it's the USL map. And then finals are going to be played on Urban Decay, which is a very interesting choice and one that I think maybe factor into a lot of how we talk about the championship match. The schedule of the playoff semifinals are going to kick off at 9 p.m. Eastern. I don't know that we have those games set yet, but I'm kind of looking at that chat going as we go. And then the second game will kick off at 9:45. And then following the conclusion of that game, I guess we'll try to do 3v3s at about 10:30 or so, based on the conclusion of that game. I guess we kick it off right afterwards or as soon thereafter as we can get championship rounds started. So let's talk about the semifinals first. The first match we'll have, I guess, will be the 10 p.m. I guess we'll wait and see if we need to swap these. But D-Generation X is going to be taking on Suicide Squad right now, scheduled at 10 p.m. A little bit unfair to ask all the DX guys to comment, but Mecca started off.
Yeah, it is a little weird, but I mean, I think we take this one. EC is kind of the great equalizer, and yes, it's the second oldest map compared to KR on for USL, but EC is kind of a good equalizer because I think there's a slight advantage to one side, but it's nothing like KR or OD or anything like that. I don't think it's that prevalent. So anybody can really win on this map. I mean, if Mountain slows it down, they have a chance, but I do think that we win this, and we'll probably play a bunch of different support classes because this is like support class heaven on this map. And so I do think we ended up winning this by probably 20 or 30. Mountain will definitely have it pretty even early though, because they'll be doing some interesting things. I noticed when I was NTing with Mountain a couple times this week, he doesn't just do the standard south play. He might send like 1 in the rocks and then like 2 through mid, or just kind of change up the numbers that it's expected, which I think is a really good thing to be doing against a kind of an established squad. So we'll see how that all turns out. But I mean, I do think there's a potential for an upset there, but I'm just gonna say that DX wins this.
Gift?
Yeah, judging by how Suicide Squad played in their last match, they can't fight a squad straight up. NWO is not like a powerhouse by any means. They're a good squad, but they're not going to steamroll over you, and that was a beatdown. If DX shows the lineup that they did for against Cats, it's going to be a pushover. They're going to rock Suicide Squad. EC is very campy. It's going to be a slow game. However, DX is going to win battles by 3 or 4 or 5 kills, and it's just going to add up to the end. Like, you're going to watch the 30 minutes of it and think, wow, this is a pretty close match. But then by the end of it, DX is going to win by 25. So it is what it is.
All right, Bowen?
There's definitely going to be some camping, especially if SS gets ahead early. But as Mecca mentioned, this map is very even. I feel probably one of the more even maps we have in the league. Everyone knows it very well. Who's been in the league for more than a couple seasons? Like EC's is just time tested. So it's going to come down to a few things. But even with the camping, I do feel like DX has the advantage just on power alone, and I think they take this by about 25 to 30.
Yeah, I mean, with Iron probably being here as well to add into the lineup that we showed this past week, if everybody shows up, it's going to look like the KR match against Suicide Squad. We are going to bulldoze them and then sit outside their base. But that being said, I don't think everybody shows up. I think SV runs around like he did on KR and stalls for time to keep things a little close and slow paced. But once we win that first fight, it's on, and we'll win by like 25, 30 kills.
Well, I don't disagree with what anybody's saying here. I guess I would raise a couple of issues on the Suicide Squad. Are there any special classes you think that Suicide Squad should run, and who should run it? And then, they just let the late additions of Albert and Templar. I don't know if either one of them would work in, or if you want to work them in this late in the season. But I guess there's a question of who makes this roster at the end. I think, you got to show Shasta. You got to show Sabotage, Victim and Mountain, clearly. And then the last 4 are kind of an open question to me. I think CC is your best choice for medic, Apollo if he's available and there. But then it's kind of an open question. Does anybody have any thoughts on what they would run to get their best lineup out there?
Yeah, bench fresh.
Yeah, I think you have to run Flo as Ripper. I don't think he's a bad Marine, and I don't think he's a bad LMG, but I think he really shines as Ripper. So if you're going to play him, I think you play him as Ripper. And also, EC is not a bad map for Ripper, so it kind of works both ways. So I'd like to see that, and you might see SV demo as well, especially if you see Champion as demo. I think you see SV demo.
Okay.
I think
go ahead.
I think AT can be very strong on EC, but I don't think Suicide Squad has a player that could play AT effectively. 100% definitely do not want Ghost Bomber on
If
AT.
Ghost Bomber goes against Eric, that would be the silliest choice you ever made.
you do not want that, but yeah, it's unfortunate because I think AT is very good on EC, but they just don't have an AT player, looks like.
Yeah. I concur with everybody though. I think DX takes this over Suicide Squad. I do think it's by like you're saying 20 or 30. It'll be a slow game, but we'll see how that goes. I wish Mountain and his team the best of luck against some strong favorites in DX. So let's go to round 2. That will actually the second half of round 1. That'd be Cats versus New World Order. Looking right now to kick off that game at about 9:45. What's going to happen, Mecca?
This is going to be an interesting one. I think I think both of these teams both voted for EC, thinking it was a strong map for them. I think Cat's best map is probably KS10 still, since it's mostly the same people. But I do think that the best map for NWO is probably EC as well too. You can hide a lot of your numbers there. You can hide your meds a little bit better too. And I don't know what kind of support classes they'll run, but I mean, this is a map that if you want to upset on it, especially when you're the lower seed, I really don't think this is a bad map to pick. As far as the actual result goes, I think I still pick Cats, but I think this is going to be very close. I think Legacy is going to have a huge game for Cats to run away with this, and I just think overall the Cats leadership is just going to be a little bit better than the NWO leadership, since this is Pister's first time actually leading a season. So I think leadership is going to win out on this one.
Gift?
This game is going to be very, very close. I agree. Kevin will probably play Nader, and Nader can be very solid on EC mortars if he can hit them. Yeah, Cats is not the same squad as last season. They just haven't bulldozed anybody. So it's going to come down to leadership for sure, which I would give to Cats. But Cats seems to give up some terrible deaths almost every battle. That keeps matches very close. So I definitely see new NWO capitalizing on that and keeping it very close. I do think Cats will win in the end, but I would not be completely shocked if NWO does win this.
Bowen?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that Cats wins this in overtime. This is a coin flip of a game. And being on EC, especially, Kevin can go nader. Kevin has shown that he can nade very well. And I think that gives them just a bit of the edge there to get a little bit over that firepower that Cats has with the full squad. Ninja needs to show and play his heart out. Pister needs to play his tail off. Split doesn't need to go 0-7 for sure. So we and Leak has really stepped up his game recently too. So I mean, there's a lot of high points for NWO to really keep this game really close. I really could see this going OT.
Yeah, I mean, this is by far easily the match to watch during the semifinals. Both split games with some controversy in the second game, right? Some things I'd like to see out of NWO specifically: put Splittah back on LMG because he looked lost as Marine against us, and let Leo go back to Marine. He is your better solo than Split, and he can't be doing that as an LMG. If the LMG is in, it needs to be with the main team focus firing. So I think Leo needs to either be the solo or you have Sammy be the solo, unless Sammy's going to demo. But the catalyst for Cats is playing off of how well Legacy is playing right now. And I do give leadership to Cats, but you mentioned Kevin going nader. Sammy can play demo at a very good level. We saw it on the Chaos 10 matches. Granted, they were against StatPad squads, but he also was hitting almost every RPG he shot. So it'll be interesting to see if he Marines, if he ATs even, or if he Marines. I think he's going to be the main deciding factor of that match if NWO wants to upset Cats. So I'm going to call it. Everybody else is saying Cats. I'll be the odd man out. I think NWO wins with it being like a 2-kill game. Good job, Pister.
Spicy prediction there.
Real quick, I think the real Ninja question, does he show up? I mean, he's had an issue showing up in playoffs pretty much every season he plays, so I think that is bigger than what class he plays.
Yeah.
Does he leave Pister out to dry, or does he actually show up and play?
I agree with everybody else that this game is going to come down to the wire 100%. I kind of think it leans more on the medics in a lot of senses. I think that the Bond and Slob for Cats versus Havoc and Dead on the other side. I think Havoc and Dead will probably run. I think the experiment with septicemia is probably at an end. So assuming Havoc shows up as I predict he will, I think that's your medic duo, and I think that Havoc and Abbott are the better medic decision there, like in terms of the team. Bond and Slob, I thought kind of got exposed last week. I think I think that's going to be a significant job for Kevin to do again. I think Bond struggled a lot getting away from those mortars, just like it's tough for medics in particular because they're hunting you. But he really got caught by him, and I think Kevin's going to look to do that again. And if he gets those kills, especially, I think you're exactly right, Eric, that I would switch Leak and Splittah. I think Splittah needs to be LMG, and I think he needs to be in the middle of that main group because he does take advantage when you get a kill on Bond. You want that push from main immediately, and an LMG comes in really clutch there. And if you had Leak behind them, all the better. But it will be interesting to see. I assume Leak will be there, no issues there. Ninja is the question. If Ninja is there, the odds for NWO go up significantly with his. He just puts on a masterclass of Marine play. And he's probably the only person besides Leak who's capable of that on this roster. Pister, though, has had a great season. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
I was actually going to pose a question. Who is more likely to show, Ninja or Soul? I mean, Soul had a whole squad named after him saying Soul won't show. He showed last season, but does he show this time?
I think given the track record right now, Ninja is clearly the more likely one to show, I think, so far this season. But just the final comment, Legacy, I agree with what Mecca said earlier. Legacy and Tactical both have to play just outrageous games. And I assume Gift is showing up because they're going to need him. So I'd probably call it for Cats by 5. Anybody else have any comment on that game now that we've gone around the horn?
Yeah, don't let Staley AT.
Yeah, that wasn't the best AT. And I also think he's been playing a very damn good Ripper all season.
Exactly. And it's on EC. I think he'll be very effective as Ripper.
Yeah.
I'm not trashing Staley. I love the guy, but I think he's more effective as a Ripper than AT.
It was a question of, I guess the goal was just to counter you, so they felt like they had to do it. But I think that he would have been equally as effective as Ripper. You get an extra kill, and the battle's broken open. What does it matter if you're AT? If you got that Ripper streaming and separating the field. Anyway. All right, so we're assuming. I think the majority of us think Cats are moving on. I think the majority of us think DX is moving on. So we're going to have maybe not a rematch of exactly the championship last season because there are clearly some pieces that are different, but very close to the same game. With that in mind, let's talk about the championship round. We're going to Urban Decay. Mecca, take it away.
So if my prediction comes through, this is going to be Cats versus DX. I think DX takes this on Urban Decay. I mean, I think that's why Urban Decay was picked. Unlike last season when KS10 was picked, because I think Sav was a little too confident on KS10, think he could beat Warhawks on it and prove not true. But I think Urban Decay plays more into DX, what DX wants to do, and especially if Champ is there to demo. I think demo is just so good on Urban Decay that if you have somebody who can play it, you've got to use it. And I think that'll be the difference in the game is that demo. And then also I think that DX has the better med group, especially if Iron shows. If it's Iron and Stab, I think that's just better than Slav and Bonds. And that matters a lot on these maps too, because you got to dodge every law, you got to dodge every nade. If there's a demo or a mortar coming at you, I think that meds just matter so much on this map. That DX will take this.
Gift?
So if NWO beats Cats, I think DX will win in a landslide in the champ match. If Cats wins, I think it'll be very close. I think Cats matches up better with DX compared to the other squads in the playoffs. Urban Decay is very similar to the map we just played on. Like it seems kind of smaller. It's very fast paced. You can play every support class. We were surprised last match. DX used one Marine. They played basically every support class except one Marine, right? And it was very effective. Nas had a fantastic game against us. And again, Urban Decay, very similar style map. So I would assume if they show the same lineup, it'll be a very close competitive match. I would side with DX right now as well, but I think it'll be very close if Cats does make the championship match. But it's gonna boil down to medics. Agreed. If one of our guys eats a mortar and we lose a battle, we have to cut numbers and fall immediately. It's going to be it'll be back and forth, but it'll be very close and probably DX by 6 at the end.
Bowen?
I actually agree almost 100% with Gift there. I mean, if NWO wins, I think it's just a bad matchup to go against DX for them, especially on UD, because I mean, Sov leaves he just has so much going on with UD. He just knows the map. Yeah, I mean, I just think DX wins that by a landslide. But as mentioned, Cats does match up very well with their aggression and being able to the way they kind of move and keep moving on the fly and react a little faster, not faster than DX, but faster than most squads, is a testament to how good they are and how well they gel. So I do feel like that if Cats gets in, it's a much closer game. I do think DX still takes it. Again, the mid core, as mentioned earlier, is problematic, and you just really don't know what DX is going to play half the time. I mean, you kind of have an idea, but especially people like Sov who can play any class in the game, like, what's he going to play, right? So it's going to be a very good game. I think it's going to be fun to watch. I do give it to DX by 10.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Cats still only has 14 members on the roster. What I would like to see is Kaga, wink wink, free agent, wink wink, join, and then you move Staley back to medic and you shore up a Slob and Staley medic combo. That is, no offense to Hustler, he is still unrusting and getting familiar with SK again, but I think that is their best medic combo. Or you switch Fax back, but Fax has proven that he's a pretty solid Marine. But going back to us, we don't even know what support classes we're gonna run until we get on spec that Sunday, right? So it'll be interesting to see who all shows. I agree for the most part that we will win. I do think it'll be close because every champ game, every playoff game for that matter, is a slower pace game. There's going to be a lot of movement like last champ match. Just not a whole lot of fighting, maybe. You never know. So I'm kind of around Gift and Bowen's kill range, probably us by about 8 to 10 kills.
I don't say anything to be mean. I just say it to call it like I see it. I do not. I see the Cats VDX being the end result, and I do not see this actually being that close. But it kind of depends on one big factor. I agree, Eric, completely with your thought about the medic swap. If Kaga did pull that move, first of all, it'd give me a whole lot to talk about. That'd be exciting. I want to see it happen. But I think that's exactly the right call, that Staley shift back into that medic position, and then Sol and Kaga both join the starting lineup. I think that would just be fantastic for talk about the hype train. I'd be all about it. A big part of this game will be if Sol makes the game. If he's there, I think the game is competitive. If he is not there, I don't think it is at all. I think the medic exposure is going to be significant. I do think that Bond had a rough week last week, and I kind of think it may get worse against DX if they're really looking to hunt him. And I just think that's going to be what the struggle is. And I think of the medics on the other side, I'm actually surprised with how well Grump is doing just coming back to the game. He looked so composed last week. I just think the medics are really going to matter in this match. And while the Marines may be fairly balanced, I don't think it matters to that point. If your medic goes down first, that's all she wrote. So it's a question of, can Legacy and Tactical pick off a medic on the other side? Or can they survive long enough to, maybe get a Yosh kill or something like that? Assuming he's even in the game, we'll just have to wait and see. But if DX is playing that strongest lineup they've got, including Iron, I don't see it being close. I don't even see it being within 8 to 10. I think it's going to be more like 15 to 20. I think DX are going to wipe the floor, and it just kind of depends on who shows up, like it does every week. But I think the most likely outcome is that DX wins this game real big. Any final comments on that game? Nope. Okay. Well, let's go to the mailbag. With the recent discussions focused around the elimination of the Sniper class and the possible inclusion of the Spec Ops class, and with AT and Heavy Ripper in mind, What does the panel view as the role of support classes in USL? Should support classes be situational classes, which are utilized by select squads on select maps in select situations a la Grenadier, Demo, and Ripper? Or should they be high-impact classes in all situations, limited only by the individual class limit, such as LMG?
I think they should be impactful everywhere, honestly, and only limited to like the set limitations, like LMG only one per squad, right? AT only one per squad. I think that it's a nice change from like 40 plus seasons of only playing Marine and Medic, and it gives almost everybody a different avenue to explore to try and upset squads by running all these different support classes. Which ones work, which ones don't, depending on the map, right?
Becomes kind of a chess game.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any thoughts?
I'm sick of support classes. Fucking tank all of them. Let's get back to Marines and Medics.
Marines and Medics.
A man's league.
Beautiful.
We'll just have the gift season. Everything's retro.
I'm all
a lot
for
of
support classes,
controversy.
as it probably doesn't surprise anybody, as you see me in SPs pretty much never play Marine. And I think, obviously they're good, right? Well, most of them are viable right now on different maps. You saw, like TG mentioned earlier, Cats or DX played all support except for Jeff against Cats, against the number 2 squad in the league, and we beat him with all support. So I think they should be in the league. I think some of them should be better. I think OD is just kind of support heaven, which helps, and I think EC is kind of the same way. But I would like to see, Nader be able to play it on more than just one shit map.
I will say that I like a blend between situational and high impact. I like both of them. I do think that situational is really fun. Like Demo is definitely not the right class for every squad or for every map in any way. But for the teams it is right for, it can be really fun. And Mountain seems to have taken to it. There are certain players who just kind of take to it really quickly and can make a pretty big impact for their squad at that role. And I think that's really cool. But I also like the high impact of LMG. I like that LMG is a class that basically I think we universally agree at this point, if you're not running LMG, you're doing it wrong. You need to have an LMG on the field. And it's a question then of who becomes your LMG. I think we also have kind of a general consensus that you want somebody who shoots well, and who, maybe not the best dodger on the team, but somebody who hits a lot of bullets. For us, that was Chompy. For other teams, it's Splittah or Kaga. There's lots of guys that can play it well, but I think that's generally your idea. I would like to see, and we were talking about this, just before the show, and it's kind of been growing on me as the show's been going on. I like the idea of an SMG class of some kind. Maybe a little extra speed in some way, with some sort of what I love the MP5 that we've got currently. Maybe we turn up the speed on the bullets on that a little bit. I don't know, something like that. I think it'd be really cool to have another class that's kind of more of a short range focus. That could be really fun to add a new complexity to it. But it's definitely something we need to work with. And I also see, I also have the nostalgia in the back of my head, like Gift is saying, where sometimes I just want it to go back to the base game that I knew and fell in love with. So I see both sides on all of it, but I think there's some room for improvement, and we'll get to another question about that here in a second. Anybody have any other thoughts on that before we move on?
Yeah, one clarifying question. Are you saying we should nerf LMG? Is that your stance?
No, my nerf, if we were going to do anything, we should reduce it by maybe 5 bullets. Otherwise, I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't touch it.
I agree. I think it should be reduced by 10. I think it should be a 40 clip, but yeah, I think 5 is probably okay too.
Yeah. That's the only. I mean, I think otherwise it's just it's a class that currently the way it is, I think works. It makes sense why you have one, and you only get one. Anyway, let's see here. How does this league, Bowen? I think this is for you, buddy. How does this league currently select a league administrator? It seems like we have 3 or 4 people doing the job currently. So how do you all decide who is in charge of making these decisions? Do you each focus on different aspects of the league, and can players have any input in who the future league administrator is, or is it staff vote that only matters?
I mean, it's kind of situational, I guess, right? Like, and Eric could probably speak to this a bit too, you know. But like, it as far as like decisions going out and stuff like that, like I've kind of allotted all my deputy admins to the different aspects that they're very good at, like DP being kind of the head ref, tactical kind of being the wise man, I guess, because I got rid of all the and the scheduling because he was really good at that. And people like Svasto being kind of the enforcer because he just doesn't give a shit.
And he's good at wording. He is.
Yep. He is. And his wording is fantastic. I mean, you just look at the appeal he put up. It's amazing. So yeah, it's, you know, there's a lot of little things that come up there. And as far as like, you know, does staff have, I ask staff opinions on things pretty regularly. It just really depends on what we're looking at. So it varies up pretty heavily.
To answer what Bowen was ignoring there, yes, it is primarily staff members that will vote for the next admin, because kind of what Bowen was just saying there, you got to look at people's intangibles and what they're best at, how they've acted in the game, outside the game, whether it be Discord or forums, and you need somebody who's going to be level-headed to represent the staff, right, and make decisions that sometimes the public isn't going to agree with, whether it's poll-based or, you know, sometimes you just got to ignore a poll and make the right decision, and people get upset about that, and you need to have somebody that will do that and roll with the criticism, you know what I mean? So for the most part, new admin will always be chosen by staff members.
Yeah, and to be fair, I didn't even know that. Like, if I quit tomorrow, I have no clue how they would replace me. So
okay,
that makes sense.
You're irreplaceable, Bowen.
You are.
Oh, no, God.
All right. Should Bax be in contention for winning a support award this season? He finished this season in the top 10 with 88 kills, despite being on a bottom tier squad. Everyone recognizes the terror he struck with the sniper class, and there's so on and so forth.
Wait, what's the actual question on that?
That is that should Bax be in contention for winning a support award this year?
I think he is in contention. I don't think he'll win, but I think he's in contention.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
I mean terror is generous too. Yeah, like
I think people got to remember that support award isn't strictly support class anymore, right? I know Mecca can go more into his formula and everything like that, but it is a large factor of your assist points, maybe not kills, but like overall how much points you have versus your amount of assist percentage, right? That's another big factor. So is he possibly in contention? I don't know the stats. I haven't looked at anything, but I would assume so. But I don't think he's going to win either.
I mean, I do want to point out that they lost to Cats by 1 point, Suicide Squad by 2, and I definitely think he was a big factor in those. So I definitely agree with what Mecca's saying. He is in contention for that award. I don't know the stats, the numbers, and Mecca, are you prepared to talk about that tonight?
No.
Okay, moving on. We'll have that for you soon, though. Let's see here. Every season seems to have a different class focus. Season 22 was the AT. Season 23 was the Heavy Ripper. Season 24 seems to be all about the Sniper. What class do you think needs the overhaul for Season 25? And if you could alter one thing about that class, what would it be?
Nader needs, move and shoot.
Move and shoot Nader, yeah. And nades need to fucking kill. How many times have you guys played Nader in pub or in SP and you hit somebody in the head? You get
and they don't die many times.
And as a skirmish league player, I come from a world where you died every time it touched your face. Every time.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
yeah. It's in a weird spot for some reason. The arc, as soon as they lowered the arc down to give it a better like proc, it stopped killing. It's the weirdest freaking thing. But also it stops going over rocks now. So it's kind of weird. So
would you change that, Bowen? Would you turn it back to the way it was and then get it back to one-hit kills?
I'm asking opinions on it. I mean, I personally think it should be one-hit kills, especially at preferred range. The proc should be kind of there, but also it should do more damage.
I think the major complaint about it being a one-hit kill was when it was, the visibility on the actual 40 was hard to see. So I think if you go that route of going back to a one-hit kill, you need to adjust the visibility on it so that people can actually see it, right? And that's going to that also makes me concerned about with how bad our rendering is overall with explosives, whether it be hand grenades, incend grenades, or laws, people eating them or not showing up on other screens. Is that something we're going to have to push back a little bit until we get that fixed? Other than that, I would say, obviously, there's a forum about LMG. It literally, if it does get touched, only needs 5 to 10 bullets out of the clip. That's literally all it needs, and it would be fine. Heavy Ripper, just get rid of it. Don't know why it was brought up to begin with. And then, of course, Sniper. That's the other big one. And obviously, we're looking to rework it. And we'll see what this Ranger class turns out to be.
Gift, I know you hate support classes, but you want to weigh in on that or about the explosive? I know we were talking about that a little earlier, the issue with explosives currently in the game.
So we can talk about classes and class changes ad nauseum every off season or even during the season. But if you can't fix your server lag issues, then it's a moot point. We have invisible laws and invisible nades killing people, and that's the most frustrating thing about the game currently. I personally don't have an issue with LMG. I don't know why. Like, to me, seasons ago, and I mean, I don't know, 5-6 seasons ago, I would put my like 5th, 6th Marine on LMG just because I feel like, okay, this is my worst Marine in my lineup. He can do some more damage with the LMG. Now all of a sudden it's flipped to, no, let's have one of our better players play LMG so they can pop off. So it looks like it's more overpowered than it is because better players are playing the class, right? But I think LMG is fine, to be honest. And the other support classes, people are playing them because they're not good at Marine. So I'm with Kaga, get good. Just play Marine.
Get good, kid. I like the message. It's very encouraging. All right. Anybody else on that one?
Yeah, one thing about nades and people not being able to see them, it's like 3 people. It's the same 3 people who can't see mortars, even though there's a gigantic fucking thing on your radar and a siren that goes off.
Yeah,
Like
Romulocks.
some people just
The
can't be
siren
fucking
fix
helped in
that.
this game.
Okay. I'm good now.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Some people just can't be helped, and I think changing a class because people are fucking blind is just not the way to go about balance changes.
Yeah. And I don't know what the fix is for the explosion issues, but it is significant. I was just talking earlier. We were playing in an SB this week. I was with Kevin, and I forget who the other Marine was, but it was another another NWO Marine, and the 3 of us died right next to each other, and multiple explosions that nobody saw. And Kevin was kind of losing it. Like apparently it's happened to him several times. And he was like, does anybody have any idea what killed me? And none of us knew. So, yeah, it's definitely an issue. And I think Tactical has shown, some screenshots and some video even of it happening. And if you're on the receiving end of it, you have no idea how you died. You don't even see it, and we have got to fix that. And if it requires more money for servers, just let me know. We need to get it worked out.
The thing about that too is though we've offered more money for servers, so who knows where that's going to go. But
yeah,
I definitely agree. It's the biggest problem in USL right now.
For sure. Could the USL panel provide a quick breakdown of the Season 24 top 10 filtered by kills? What surprises you most in the list currently? Who do you think is notably missing? Where should the cutoff for Tactical's efficiency be this season? So let me give you the top 10 currently. We have Colossal at 118. We have Rogue at 113. We have Legacy at 104. Sov at 96. Pandy at 96. Samara at 95. Pister at 94. Ninja at 90. Bax at 88. And Leak at 88.
So the question, should we lower the thing that we've done for 20 seasons to fit more people in?
Is it a set number? I didn't realize it was a set number.
Yes, it's a set number. It is
10 per game.
Yeah, as long as you average 10 kills per game. So you have to show to every game, right? Or get the allotted amount. So if you only played 8 games but still got 100 because there were 10 overall games, you would have the award. So I think 10 kills per game is a fair average to have. And so it's not going to be a set 100 kills next season if there's only 8 weeks, right? Or 8 matches. It'll be 80. In regards to most surprising, good job, Pister. Showing up with 94 kills, 42 deaths. Most notable, and I'm saying it because of my bet, Split, where you at, bro?
I think the thing too is not to use a ROM dog whistle here, but it feels a little bit like a participation award if you're like lowering the number to fit people in. Like you kind of want it to be an exclusive club. Like if you look through the history of the award, sometimes 2 or 3 people win it, sometimes 10 people win it. It just kind of depends on the maps, the season, the squad. So like it should feel a little exclusive. You don't want half your player base winning a kill award. That doesn't really make much sense to me.
So it's an automatic.
Sorry, guys,
Oh, what up, Split? You got any thoughts on this one?
I came late. I apologize. I just got back home.
Good input, Split. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Appreciate the participation, but I'm just kidding. So if I understand right, what you're saying is Colossal, Rogue, and Legacy are your tacticals efficiency for this season. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I like the idea of it being an elite award. I do. I agree with that. I think it should be. As you've noted, sometimes it's just 1 or 2 people, and that those people popped off that season. The ones when you have 6 or 7, it feels more diluted and less special.
And one more thing about that too, and like it's not just people on Soft Squad every year. You get a couple people from Soft Squad, but there's been many seasons where a team on like the 2nd or 3rd or 4th team has got 100 kills.
Also,
so it doesn't.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was done.
Hey, Eric, didn't you have like 80 kills in week 5?
I
think you were significantly lower than 113. I mean,
oh no, I was going into this week 6. I think I was at 93.
Okay.
Legacy was the one. Legacy was at 73 before this week.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And he ended up popping off against.
I heard Eric say something about me not being in the top 10, and honestly, I think Eric knows why. I missed one of the weekends. That was big.
We were talking about who is the most notable.
I don't want to hear
person.
excuses, dude.
You already know. I called it. Mecca already knew too. We all knew. As soon as I missed that weekend, it was a wrap.
And there was a bet on this, correct, Split? Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Is the money in his Venmo? Is that what's going on?
No, I gotta find my PayPal.
Yeah, I have to send it to him via PayPal. Yeah.
Okay.
I can send it to Soft too. E-transfer Soft. Let me know.
You damn.
Like that.
I will say to counter your argument though, Split, Sov only played 7 games and made that top 10 list.
Well, that's Sov, right?
And he skipped most of the stat games.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that's Sov, right? Like we have to say he's probably the.
Hey, Sov did it. Sov did it.
Right? Ninja played 8.
I don't think Sov skipped the stat pad games, by the way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he went to the stat pad games too. So 13 kills a game average, he had to have gone to some stat pads. There was no way.
All right, well,
he didn't play week 5 games at all.
That is the end of my mailbag questions. Does anybody have anything else before I wrap this mailbag up?
Negative.
Okay. All right. Well, let me get some announcements here. Capture the Flag Draft League is tomorrow, Tuesday night, the 22nd, I believe at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Signups ended on Sunday night, but I want to encourage anyone who hasn't signed up yet, is interested in participating in that league, please contact Emperor. Our very own Mecca volunteered to be the final captain for the league, and he has promised that he definitely will not be picking you, USL players. So go play for a squad that ends up beating his. We are discussing what to do in the USL Season 24 offseason, but please stay tuned to uslzone.com to get more information on that. We've already taken a poll and have a general idea of what people are interested in doing, but we also want to encourage and funnel people to participating in CTFDL. We want to grow that zone as well, so please do participate in that if you're interested in that. We will see what happens after they kick off their season, but we are looking at a Thursday night games to not conflict with their schedule, most certainly. Spots are open for commentating the playoffs. If you're interested and haven't called a game to this point, please message me. A lot of the DX guys volunteer to do the refereeing, to do the commentary, to do everything else in this league. And those guys are going to be busy, at least for the first game and probably for the second. So if you have some time, we could really use your help in the postseason. Does anybody else have any final comments before I close it out? Nope.
This is Splittah.
I was on that squad with you. That will do it for the Season 24 Playoff Preview Show. You can play Infantry for free. Download the game right now for free on Steam. Just type Free Infantry in the search bar or visit freeinfantry.com. If you're interested in league play, as we were talking about, please go to uslzone.com. Sign up on site where you can view roster schedules and the forums. Also, be sure to check out all our available videos right now on the Infantry Online YouTube page. Built and maintained by military police, feel free to relive the nostalgia anytime you want by going back to watch play from past seasons. I'd like to thank my co-hosts for the show today. We had Mecca, Bowen, Eric, The Gift, and the final showing, Splittah. This has been Romulocks, and you've been listening to the USL Season 23 Playoff Preview Show. See you all in-game this weekend for the playoffs. Night.